You're listening to the Energy is Love podcast.
Let's roll. Let's roll. We're rolling. Something, something.
Catch me riding dirty.
That's a good song.
Yes. They see me rolling.
No, that's not how it goes.
It is. They see me rolling. Let's roll is like the famous last words of the people that took out the terrorists on the plane. Instead of it crashing, I think it was going to the White House.
Oh, the United Night, whatever.
Hit the field in Pennsylvania. Oh, that was the...
Supposedly.
That was supposedly... Well, they were like on a phone call. And that's what the last words were.
I have a hard time believing anything these days.
Yeah. I believe that
20 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, maybe. I believe it.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Right off the bat.
Sassy.
I'm not sassy.
Sassy.
Right off the bat, I wanted to talk about the event this weekend.
Okay.
Even though it's next weekend, but by the time you listen to this, it'll be this weekend.
Okay.
And you can still get tickets. The Divine Assembly. Go to thedivineassembly.org. Summer Revival. It's a summer solstice celebration, Friday, June 18th through Sunday, June 20th. Steph and I are going to be there, and you should come hang out.
Come say hi.
Yeah.
Come make friends.
It'll be fun.
Be friends with us? Come hang out with us.
Do you want to be friends?
We can be friends, maybe.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We're going to have a questionnaire for people that want to be friends.
Got an intake form.
But go to that website. You can go find them on social media as well, the Divine Assembly on Facebook and Instagram and everything else. And it's going to be fun.
And come say hi.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time.
I'm going to be dirty because it's in the desert.
Yeah.
I'm going to be stinky, I'm sure.
I'm going to give. Stinky.
It's going to be in the desert.
Yeah, but you think you aren't stinky. Like you think you get stink. You don't get. I mean, eventually over the course of several weeks, you'd get stinky. But
I think I'm going to have to buy real deodorant for this. I have like
natural deodorant.
Natural that just. But,
think about all the stinky ass hippies that are going to be there.
I know. I think
you're going to
be
just fine.
I think I might put on some real like sweat blocking.
Don't put on sweat blocker.
That bad stuff that stops your bodies from functioning. I think I might put on some actual antiperspirant.
That should be the name of a deodorant.
Yeah.
Sweat blocker.
Sweat blocker.
Put this shit on and we block the sweat.
We block the sweat. Also, your natural
everything else that's good in life.
So it stays in your body and causes cancer, but you don't stink. I think I'm going to put some of that on this weekend.
Yeah.
Just in case.
You'll be fine.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's going to be fun. So come check it out.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
I am.
Are you? What?
You know how I'm feeling about it. Should we talk about how we're feeling about
Absolutely. Why not? No, it's a podcast. We should not talk about things.
Good idea. Moving on. I'm nervous as fuck about it, and you and I've talked a great deal about it, and it's so silly because it's nothing. It's nothing necessarily to be nervous about, but it's something that I'm incredibly nervous about. So
yeah.
I'm nervous to be, like we talked about it last weekend or something, a few days ago, we talked about it and how I have different parts of me. And there's a part of me that very much just wants to go and play and have fun and relax and let go. And then there's like another part of me that has to plan everything. Mm-hmm. And then another part of me that just wants to like judge it all and say it's stupid and it's a waste of time and we're not going and nobody should go. But I'm going to try to let go of all parts except the one that wants to have fun.
Yeah.
And just the one that wants to have fun and play and relax. And like, I think it's going to be really neat to be, hopefully weather's good, right? I'm assuming the weather will be good, right? Even if the weather's not good, whatever.
How cool would it be if there was rain so we weren't all dying of heat?
Well, I want clear skies.
Okay.
I want to be able to be out there and look up.
Okay.
That's one of the neat things about where we live is you can see the stars.
Okay, well at night it can be clear.
Yeah.
But during the day, maybe a little overcast, maybe a little bit of rain because it's hot.
It is going to be hot.
It's the end of June. It's going to be hot.
Yeah.
Summer solstice. So maybe a little bit of...
if you need water, come find us. We'll have water.
Okay, we should start stocking up right now. It might be from our tears, our sweat. Depends on if there's overcast, but we'll have something for you.
No, I'm hoping that it's clear skies.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a pretty night. And it'll be nice to see the stars.
So cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. I am terrified, but I'm nervous at the same time. I'm nervous and excited.
Yeah.
So I just decided it's excitement. But that's a lie. It's also nerves because I'm scared.
Just go with excitement,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We're just going to go with excitement.
I'm so happy.
Stick with the part inside of you that is excited.
I'm peeing my pants.
The people, not the people from Mormons on Mushrooms, the hosts of that show are coming out for it as well. And I'm excited to get to see them and hang out with them in person.
It's going to be
and
way cool.
with any luck, and I don't know if it's going to happen because everybody's busy, obviously, but excuse me, with any luck, we'll have a nice in-person podcast with them.
That'd be cool.
So hopefully that'll happen. And then I was also thinking that we'll probably meet some interesting people that we'll want to have on the podcast.
I hope so.
So we might be able to end up getting some guests out of it.
Yeah. Hey, if we're doing that, we're technically marketing.
Right?
So
Already.
that sounds like a write-off.
It sounds like
me.
a write-off to me as well. I'm 10 steps ahead of you.
Hell yeah. We are marketing.
Yeah.
My goal is to find interesting people. That's where I'm going. I'm going to market. I'm going to put on some real deodorant and I'm going to make some friends.
My goal is to have fun.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
My goal is just to play. And if I happen to find somebody that seems like they'd be cool on the podcast, great.
You're going to be so goddamn giddy. Everybody's going to be the perfect candidate. Same too. We're going to leave with 1 million best friends. Everybody's coming on the podcast.
That would be fun.
Yeah. That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, I debated back
I'm ready
and forth.
for some best friends. Who wants to be best friends? I need a best friend. I don't have a best friend. I have you are my best friend. I don't have a non-spouse best friend.
Yeah, a non.
I don't have a best friend that I'm not sleeping with.
That should be the T-shirt that you wear. In search of ISO, a best friend that I'm not sleeping with.
But we'll see how it goes.
And then on the back, it'll be like the 10 questions that they have to answer.
I have to come up with 10 questions?
I'm sure, right? Don't you have 10 questions to
I have one question.
interview best friend candidates?
One question.
What's that?
Are you as weird as me?
But how do they know that unless they get to know you?
We'll just have to figure it out.
Do you think you're weird?
I know I'm weird.
I really don't think you are.
You don't think I'm weird?
No.
Then you're really weird.
I think, it's all relative.
I'm weird.
And nobody's...
I like that I'm weird.
I don't, it's not a bad thing either way.
I'm weird.
But there are really weird people out there.
There are. I think I'm one of them.
You're not. I think you think you're one of those weird people.
I think I am.
But you're not.
No, you don't think so?
No, God, no.
Well, then where are my friends at? Apparently, I'm not that weird.
We're going to meet some really weird people.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Even if you are one of those
What if
really
we're the
weird
weirdest
people,
ones there?
that's definitely not going to
It
happen.
might happen. It might happen.
What if we make that our goal?
To be the weirdest ones there?
Mm-hmm.
I usually try to not be the weirdest one,
Yeah.
but I usually am. I'm like, is this a weird environment? Nope, I have to keep that into myself. Sometimes you let a little bit of truth out and people look at you weird and you're like, just kidding.
I'm sitting here thinking now suddenly of every social environment that I've gone into over the course of my whole life. I just had this massive flash of, my life flashed before my eyes. I don't think I've ever felt like I belonged.
I know I haven't.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I think everybody probably feels that to some regards, though.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I definitely go into a mode too when I have to go into a social setting. I turn on a different part of myself and turn everything else off. I turn on, and I don't mean I turn on. No, I just something else takes over so I can survive it. So I can handle all the interactions. So I can just be interactive with everyone. And then afterwards, I fucking crash. When we get home, I'm going to need some downtime.
Yeah.
I'm going to need lots of salt baths.
What if you were able to leave that part and that part didn't have to show up and present itself to everybody?
I'm wondering if I can.
Right. What if the Steph behind that part gets to be the one that shows up?
That's the weird part. That's the one that walks around
this is the place.
Right? That's where my weird is. Because normally I try to be very personable and very, I'm nice and I'm interactive. And I am all those things.
You are.
But I don't let anything else come through. It's just this is okay. I know how to get people talking. So
About
I don't
themselves,
have to.
Right.
So I can engage that and then whoom, and then I don't have to talk. I just listen.
Maybe you should let that other part just be the one that presents itself.
Yeah.
Can you feel that other part of yourself?
Right now, she's like, no.
She's scared.
No.
But maybe that's the part that gets to go to
Maybe.
this event next weekend.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I have a part of me that I do the same thing.
Yeah.
So totally. Like there has been so much anxiety building up to this. And we finally bought our tickets last week and like we're totally ready for it.
You bought the tickets. I didn't pull that trigger. I was like,
And I keep envisioning the part of me that's going to show up because I so have the same thing, right? Everybody does.
Mm-hmm.
But I so have that thing that I have this, Craig presenter that shows up and presents himself to the world, especially in new environments.
New environments.
Unknown
Also, vulnerable
environments.
environments. It's going to be a vulnerable environment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you going to be able to not be a protector?
I'm really hoping so.
Am I going to be able to not be hyper vigilant and aware of everything and assessing everybody and assessing threats? Am I going to be able to be okay?
And just relax.
Or am I going to have to be like, that's a potential threat. That's a potential threat. And like have to behave in a way that I can keep myself safe.
Yeah, you're going to be safe. You're going to be okay.
Well, I know there's also that part of me that comes out and is like, oh yeah. Oh. I got my inner.
The ninja part?
Yes.
Steph Ninja.
I like tuck and roll and like, oh yeah.
Hide behind sagebrushes.
I do. You see me pop out from somebody's not in like from behind them. So you like see them and I'm like by their butt. And I was like, dude, I was going to. Never
See
mind.
me pop out of somebody's ass.
That's how I stay safe. I just like burrow in weeds.
It's going to be fun.
It will be.
I'm sure we'll have lots to talk about on the podcast.
Yeah.
But it's nerve-wracking.
Yes, it is.
But it doesn't need to be.
It doesn't.
Like that's the whole thing, right?
I mean, yeah. We're anxiety people though. So it's okay that we're scared. I'm not going to make us bad. I'm not going to make me bad for being scared. I have anxiety. I'm doing it anyways.
Exactly.
So it's okay that I'm scared.
Yeah, totally. Speaking of going into uncomfortable situations.
Are you talking about the burrowing?
No.
I'm not really going to do that.
Crawling up asses.
I need a rain suit. Full body glove.
Last weekend, we totally always get screwed up trying to designate the time.
Last weekend at time of recording.
Yeah.
Not recorded live.
We should not ever do that.
Previously recorded episode.
It becomes Back to the Future. Like, where are we? What part of the movie is this? Is this when he came back or when he's going forward or he dropped in here? Is this the future? Is this episode 2, 3, 4?
We have to foresee into the future to talk about it as if we're talking about the past. Does that make sense?
I'm so glad we're not high right now. Because what you just said
Yeah.
would have taken up the next 25 minutes of this episode of me trying to figure out what you just said.
What crazy lady?
Like, hold on. I have to go forward to figure out where I'm at now in order to talk about then.
Do you know what that also means?
What?
We're absolutely in the present. Because like we see the future. We're not in the future or in the past. We're right now. We're in the present.
Yes, we are.
I'm going to start oming.
Oming. I hope Ohm's there.
I'm sure he will be. Like, hey, what up?
Back in another lifetime, there was an episode of the podcast with a guy named Ohm, and it's an interesting episode that you should go find. I'm not even gonna. It's like episode 17 or something.
It's way in the beginning.
A long time ago. Last weekend we went to Pride.
Yes, we did.
They had a big rally in Salt Lake City to celebrate Pride Festival.
Was it a march or a rally?
Whatever we want to call it.
Whatever they call it to make it acceptable to happen when restrictions are still not allowing things to happen.
But we went.
We went.
So tell us, Stephanie, about your experience. First off, just a slight caveat. We went to Pride 4 years ago, 5 years ago. What did you
I think
decide?
it was like 4. It was 4 or 5.
4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the last time that we had gone.
Yeah.
And it was a much different experience because we had all of our kids with us.
Had all our kids. We were different people.
And yeah.
Didn't realize lots of things.
Yeah. So new experience.
New experience.
Let's hear it.
We went to Pride.
I'm going to ask you about it.
You're going to have to because I'm like, we went to Pride. We stationed at near the beginning of the march. At a
Set up
hotel.
a perimeter.
We did. where we had bathroom access.
Our drop zone.
And so the parade made it to us, and then we entered the parade.
Yes.
And then we finished out.
At 1,100 hours.
Liberty Park. We made it through approximately 3/4. We're walking with them.
We walked the whole way.
Well, we didn't start at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't start at the very
we
beginning.
didn't start at the very beginning. I'm glad we didn't start at the very beginning. Like,
Yeah.
I want to next year because I want to be a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I will never forget what it felt like to see that sea of people coming
down.
and realizing how many people there were.
Coming down State Street.
I might get emotional again.
That's okay.
I was feeling that then. It was just like when there were so many people, it's like the joy and emotion came up in me, and I was like, I'm gonna be the one crying. I'm gonna be the weirdo. I was so happy that I was moved.
Yeah.
I was moved by just how many people?
The sea of people.
The sea of people.
Yeah. It started at the Capitol. So here in Utah, in downtown Salt Lake City, the Capitol kind of sits up on a hill, and they have, there's a big main road that runs through the heart of downtown Salt Lake. It runs north and south. It's called State Street. It's probably one of the longest running roads, right? It's probably been around forever and a day. And it runs right up to the Capitol. It also happens to run right past the LDS temple / like the headquarters for the Mormon church, and like the headquarters, not the satellite, but the main headquarters for the Mormon church is also right there on State Street. And so it starts at the Capitol with a big rally, and then they march down State Street and ends at a big it's Liberty Park, a big park in town. And so they come walking down the hill, this sea of people, and it was pretty amazing to see, because it was kind of like hard to tell where we were stationed, where we had set up our perimeter. And then suddenly it became apparent, oh, that's it.
That's it.
Oh my God, that's it.
And then it just kept building.
So many people.
And building. And it just like, there wasn't, like, I never saw it fade out. By the time it reached us, there was still that coming in. It was just like the sea that didn't stop. It wasn't like, here's the block and now there's the end. There wasn't a caboose.
Yeah.
I didn't see a caboose. It just kept coming. And when we joined in, the train was still building.
Yeah, even by the end of it, when we got to the end,
it took a long time.
And we had like gotten to a shady spot, and we were sitting and relaxing and just kind of being in the space and drinking water.
We had walked around a bit.
Yeah, and there was still probably another 30 minutes of people walking before it was finished.
Before it finished, yeah.
It was cool.
It was so cool.
Why was this a significant event for you?
I have a question for you real
Go
fast. Ahead. And it's okay that it's like off topic. How strong do you think our connection is? Do you think it can not our connection, because we're super strong. Our Wi-Fi. our Wi-Fi connection.
Okay.
Do you think it can handle 2 video calls at the same time in 2 different locations in the house?
Yes.
Do you think it'll be okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Is your appointment
You
tonight?
get upstairs. It is upstairs, but it just got pushed back.
Okay.
Which makes us overlap by 30 minutes.
I think we'll be just fine.
Okay. You get upstairs.
I think technology can handle it.
I know technology can. Can our Wi-Fi handle it? Can our retrograde Wi-Fi handle this new twist to turn of events?
The Instagram live interview we did this week with Michelle Pomeroy, by the way, you should go check it out on our Instagram. It's a fun, good. She is a couples therapist. We're getting super off track, and we'll get back to where we were starting with Pride, but go listen to that. It's only available on our Instagram. Oh, only available there.
Only available.
Yeah, on our Patreon / Instagram.
It's not a Patreon. It's still free. You just have to have an IG.
An IG?
That's what they call it, right?
So cute.
IG?
Yeah.
Instagram?
Yeah, that's what they call it.
The Insta to the gram.
The Insta to the gram. That's what they should start calling it.
I'm trying to be hip.
You're very hip.
Is it working?
You're very hip.
I'm not hip anymore.
Anyways, go watch that interview with Michelle. It was really fun and insightful, and she had a lot of really good stuff to share. And she also has a podcast called The Right Fit Podcast, where she interviews local therapists around the state to kind of give you an insight to them. That's one of the hardest things about therapy. One of the hardest things is finding the right one that you click with. And she kind of does some of that legwork for people. So it's pretty cool.
I have the right one.
Yes.
I actually have the right one.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have the right one?
I do. I feel like I have the right guy for me at this time period.
At this time period.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's this time period. I feel like my therapist can't ever dump me. I'm attached to my therapist.
I don't think that's how it works.
I think they do dump you.
At some point?
At some point, they're like, listen, I don't have any more brain power to deal with you.
So back to Pride.
Yeah. Okay.
We made plans to go.
Yes.
And
they were up in the air too.
Yeah.
It was like,
because we had some other things going on that weekend, and morning of it was like, okay, we're going to go. We're going to do this. What was going through your body at the time?
It started off with like, I was just like, oh, like that twisty belly, that twisty belly. And then it turned to like, so like, it was like awesome. Turned into so much excitement. I was like, let's go! Like, I was so excited. I was like, yes. It was anticipation.
So you got super excited.
Super excited.
And then as we drove into Salt Lake and we got a little bit closer.
I got a little nervous.
Got a little
scared. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Help us understand why. Help us explain us the process of what you were going through and experiencing, because it was a more significant event than when we went a few years ago. Why?
Oh God, my throat's doing the thing where it like squeezes. It's more significant.
What she said.
That's what she did say. Is it still? Remember? Is it still what she said when she just said it? Yeah, or do I just say yes?
I'm not going to worry about the semantics on.
But it
that's
helps
what she
me
said.
Stall this conversation.
I know.
And like
I keep making it easy for you.
That's what she said. Because this is the first Pride. First of all, it's only the second one. But it's the first time that I wasn't in any kind of situation like this, or in regards to the community, that I wasn't participating as an ally, that it was I'm participating as a member. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
So I'm
part of that community.
I'm a part of that community,
not just a supporter of.
Yes, like everything. Like, I support you. It was like, me too. Here I am, and I'm going to, and it was a big deal. It was a big deal. And
leading up to it.
Oh, okay.
Leading up to it, did you feel that? Like, was that running through your head? Was that something that you like kind of were processing and feeling?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Just that realization of like, oh, this is the first time. Now, granted, like you said last year, but 2020's Pride Festival was, I don't even know what that was.
They didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I don't remember if there was a virtual thing or not, but yeah, there was nothing.
So this is the first year where you got to be involved or just take part and bask in the experience as somebody that identifies a member of that community.
Yeah.
And that was leading up. Tell me what that was like as you were kind of processing that realization of like, oh wow, this is the first year.
I don't know what it was like. It felt like I was just like really heart opened. I was really excited. I was giddy. I was scared. I was really scared, but I was really giddy. And then it was just like, I was giddy the entire time. That it's like, as soon as I knew it was okay to join, because I'm like, I don't know. We have to wait to the end.
She was so cute. We're standing there on the sidewalk with a bunch of other people watching it as they're coming down, and they're passing us, and everybody's cheering. And I mean, it's the whole 9 yards. And
they say join wherever on the route.
Yeah. Yeah. But like you can walk, walk in the march, rally, parade. And like other people were doing that, joining in right where we were at. And you were so cute and nervous. You're like, is this the right spot? I don't know if we can. I think we have to wait. I don't know if this is the right spot. And I'm like, I'm fairly certain we can just simply step off the sidewalk into the road and start walking.
I've never done it before. I didn't want to, because I don't have information on that. I don't know what actions are hurtful.
Yeah.
And so I definitely didn't want to be hurtful to anybody or like step over anybody or like, I don't know the rules. And so I didn't want to just be like, whatever, and jump in. I wanted to make sure that I was being thoughtful and not hurting somebody, or I didn't know what the rules were. I didn't know. I was scared. Cute. And then, like, I'm glad you were there. I would have probably waited till the end and then been like, oh my, maybe it's too late, and then try to catch up. But as soon as he like pulled me and then we went, it was just like, I don't know. I can't stop saying like. I don't know why like is coming out so fucking much.
Because you're nervous.
I'm so nervous. It was amazing. It was amazing. I just like had this, I can't even explain it. It was like this, like eruption came through me. And I could just feel it building through my body, and it was like shooting out everywhere. It was just this eruption of like, what's happening? And I was just seeing, it was there. And nobody was like seeing me, but I wasn't hiding from anybody. It was like, I was visible. I was completely visible. I didn't hide anything. I had nothing to hide in that moment. In that moment, all of me was okay. And I'm going to get emotional. I haven't felt that.
I was going to say, do you ever recall feeling that way before?
No. That's big.
That's so big.
That's such a thing. I didn't know. So I was just like, the whole time, I was just so giddy. And everybody was giddy. Everybody was happy.
That was what was really neat. I mean, one of many really neat things for me was being able to feel how much joy and love there was.
Yeah.
It was just like this super joyful experience, being surrounded by so many people, and all of it was just love and happiness and joy. There wasn't any negativity anywhere.
I didn't see any protesters either.
There wasn't anything.
No negativity.
Yeah, it was just so much happiness and joy and love.
There's things that I didn't see everything, right? There's
Correct,
things I missed. But from my perspective, from what I witnessed, from my viewpoint, that was my perspective. It was joy. It was acceptance. It was love. There was so many people on the sideline that are like, there was a couple that had, guy had free dad hugs and free mom hugs from the girl. And I was like, I want to go hug them just because I'm like, can I? I was going to run and hug him, and then I would probably trip over somebody and knock the whole parade over because I'm so clumsy.
The whole parade over.
But I was just like, look! And there was like, if you're not accepted by you, like, I'm your mom now. And people were like, yeah. Like everybody, it was like everything was okay.
Yeah.
Everything was okay. And then people in the parade were just like lit up.
It was a really neat experience.
Amazing.
It was a really neat experience to get to be like with you. And watch you experience that. It made me really, really happy to get to just witness that and be a part of that experience with you. It was really, really neat. And neat doesn't do it justice. It was beautiful. And it was really awesome. And it was so perfect, right?
Yeah.
It was just one of those, you and I have so many experiences that are just perfect. You know, we luck out and we go do things, and a few weeks ago we went up to that lava hot springs and had a
that was awesome.
Perfect experience there. And this one was just so perfect. Everything about it. And I was nervous too. There was a part of me that, like, when you talked about wanting to go to it, I could tell by the way that you were kind of talking about it, as well as the way that you felt, that it had more significance for you. But I do this thing, and whether it's right or wrong, this is probably something that I should stop doing. I did it. I've been doing it a lot over the course of our relationship, but like if I know that you're excited about something, but that you're also really anxious and nervous about it, it feels like the fine line between like go or no go is very, very, very like small, right?
It is.
It's definitely a rocket launch that's like at any given moment, one wrong, a bird flies across the camera. Nope, no go. We're done. And so I could feel your excitement leading up to it and all of this stuff. And I but I chose to kind of play it cool and not get too worked up over it. And then as it got closer, and then especially the day of, because I kind of had formed a plan in my mind of what was going to be the best as far as just like silliness of like where we would park and what we would need to do to get to
the day
point A to
before?
point B. And
That's not what your thoughts.
No.
Okay.
Not at all. And then the morning of, when we decided that it was going to happen, then I like panicked because I immediately thought, oh, my plan isn't going to work. And I knew the significance of the day, but I couldn't like address any of this with you because it's a
And I'd be like, no go.
Yeah, it's a no-go situation where, so it's hard on my part. And it's not hard. It's just my perspective, right?
Yeah.
My experience, because I want everything to be perfect for you. And I want you to be able to step into spaces like this and just life. So much of it is about giving you this perfect life. And I know that that's not an attainable goal, and that's not really what my goal is, right? But it's, so I panicked the morning of, but I couldn't show you any of that because then it would very easily bell.
I was just worried about you the morning of.
I know, because that was a good outlet. That was a good focus point.
It wasn't a good focus point. That was a consideration. I know what you were feeling the morning of for reasons that we'll may or may not get into at another podcast.
Well, don't bring it up and give them the...
Why? We do that shit all the time.
I
Don't
know.
act like this is you can't do that. Yeah, I fucking can.
We're about to drop the biggest bomb on this podcast ever.
Maybe.
Not today.
And I know that I, in the same situation, would not have been able to do that. So I was concerned for you. And we had this conversation before about being able to trust if you were ready or you weren't.
And I was.
Yeah. And you said you were, and I
very
trusted.
much was. I just had a plan.
So you didn't have to make it perfect. It was just like, are you...
You know what's funny is
okay?
I don't make it perfect, right?
Yeah, you do.
Well, I don't. That's the reality of it, is it's not perfect. But I try to make it safe.
Yeah.
I try to make it safe. That's what I do a lot of times, is I try to make experiences safe for you so that you'll step into them. So it's like, what does she need to feel safe? All those little logistical things of where do we park? How do we get there? Water in my backpack, all these things, right?
You wouldn't even let me carry the backpack. Not once did you let me carry the backpack. There was no turn taking.
You were not going to carry any baggage in this first experience. You were going to get to be free and walk freely in all your beautifulness. So it was a fun fucking day. And it was so, like, there were a lot of times where I was just overcome with joy and really, like, beautiful emotion and got teary-eyed. Probably cried a couple of times. And there were times too that it wasn't even like, so much of it was connected to you and what you were experiencing and being able to witness your experience and kind of be a part of your experience. But then there were also moments where it was just like fucking beautiful. And seeing a lot of like the kids and them being able to experience that and be in that space and be in that environment and be accepted. And like I said, and just a fucking sea of people. So many people.
Yeah.
We have, I think, like in regular years, right? I think Salt Lake City has one of the biggest pride festivals in the country. Does that seem like a thing, or am I just...
I read a thing that said Salt Lake is like now the gayest city in America. And I'm like, that can't be true.
It sounds like a gay person from Salt Lake wrote
right?
that.
I'm like, that can't be true. We're in the Mormon capital of the world. Like,
yeah.
But how cool would that be?
Yeah.
Like, that's because it's like Salt Lake seems to be, and I don't know because I'm not in Salt Lake, but it appears to be the only inclusive place
in the state
in regards to
Utah,
into that community. Like, I'm not into the queer community. I know there's other areas that it needs to work on being more inclusive.
Yeah.
It is not inclusive for everybody, and that's not okay. But as far as the queer community, it does feel inclusive, but it doesn't trickle out to anywhere else in the state. And if I'm wrong, correct me. I need to see that. Show me. You live in a community that is not Salt Lake and it is inclusive. Oh my God, please tell me. Please tell me. Please share your story. Please reach out to me. You can reach out to me personally. It doesn't even have to be like the podcast. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. You can reach out like however. It can be a private conversation. It can be like whatever, but I want to know. My interpretation is that Salt Lake is the only place that is inclusive, and there's so much hate. Like the day of the Pride Parade, I believe was the day of, close to the Story Gardens. And this didn't even get picked up by the media.
Well, of course not.
There was a trans woman who was a UTA bus driver, came out 3 days prior, came out during Pride Month, 3 days prior, and got beaten severely and was put in the hospital, was in the ER for 5 hours, getting patched up. A Good Samaritan caught it and removed the person that was attacking her. But nothing like that came out through being in the community and through word of mouth, going through and finding out. And why isn't this in the media and trying to talk? Because she had 3 days where she felt safe, 3 days in being close to the Story Gardens. And that happened to her. Like it's horrific.
Yeah, it's very.
And that
very
doesn't go in the media. They won't, like, that story doesn't get picked up. So I'm not, when I'm saying it's inclusive, I'm not being blind to all the ways that it's not, and all of the hate crimes that take place, and all of the other people in the community that are not being treated fairly. So I realize that it seems like a very broad statement, but it's not. I'm not doing the entire, I don't even know how to say this right now. I don't even know how to say this. So out of all of Utah, from what I can see, that is the most, not that it is inclusive, but it's the most inclusive area. But as soon as you get out of that area, and Salt Lake's only one little part, like we've got a whole state that's full of small communities that do not get that.
Yeah.
And that's great that Salt Lake has it. But how do you get all of these other small communities that are so far away, whether it's adults or youth or however, like how do they get that safe space? Because if you live in Salt Lake, then you have that safe space to a point. But how does that trickle out? Anyways, so I heard it's very your point of like.
What was my point? I don't remember.
I think you said like, I don't know. So like it has a big turnout, a big pride.
Yeah. The Pride Festival every year is one of the biggest ones in the country.
I don't know that.
That might be a thing.
It might be. It might also be by somebody that said like, this is the biggest in the country.
Yeah.
But it was huge. It might be. I was not expecting that. I was expecting a lot of people, but I wasn't expecting that.
Maybe it has something to do with the oppression that does exist in the state. And so it's like the one opportunity for, maybe that is why it's so big.
Yeah.
Where, because there's obviously huge queer communities all across the country in different hotbeds in different areas and things like that. Hotbed's the wrong word, but different areas, right? Obviously the Bay Area, San Francisco, California, New York. I mean, there's a lot of places.
Philadelphia is pretty great. I've heard that. Salem.
Yeah. But maybe it has something to do
so.
with the oppression that exists in this state.
Yeah.
And so it is the opportunity to kind of stand up in opposition to that and be supported by everybody else and everybody coming together at the same time. And I don't know. And maybe it's not a big Pride festival, but it sure seems like it.
It's the only one we've been to.
Yeah. It's the only thing.
We've only been to Utah Pride festivals. So
yeah.
Did you at any moment have any fear, like watching outside of the parade for any danger?
No.
I did.
Did you?
A couple of times. I would like span out and see what was happening on the sidelines. I was seeing so much, but every once in a while I would like
Were you like looking for protesters or something?
I was looking for protesters, but it wasn't like looking for protesters. It was like looking for
danger,
violence.
Yeah.
That was going to at that point. And I had a couple of moments where I was like the kid aspect was big. Like, there's kids here. I'm glad our kids aren't here. There's kids here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just because that danger came up, and then I could push it aside. Like, all I'm seeing is love. Just keep seeing the love. But there was moments when I was like, pay attention. And it only happened a couple of times, and it was weird though, because it was like, everything's good, pay attention. And then I would check.
Yeah.
And then it was okay. And then I would go back. So I don't know what that was. Just fear in there, or there was a couple of times I wanted to.
I'm glad it didn't
just
detract
watch.
from the day, right?
It didn't.
Didn't detract from the experience.
It
And you got
didn't.
to just bask in all of it.
It was beautiful.
It was very beautiful. And it was a beautiful day too.
It was a beautiful
It
day.
was just a nice sunshiny day. So do you feel different after the fact at all?
Do I feel
More
different?
comfortable, more, I guess just comfortable in your skin in a sense?
A little bit. I do. Maybe it's because, like, I think I mentioned, like, that is the most out I've ever been.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, here's this. And some people have heard it. Some people have been nice. Some people have meant well and not been nice. And, but I still have so much anonymity here with this podcast because the majority of the listeners don't have a clue who I am. I can say whatever.
Yeah.
There's still a few that do, and that causes me pause. That scares me. That holds me back a lot, actually. But that was the most, like, publicly out I've ever been.
Yeah.
There was cameras. I didn't shy away from any of the cameras. It was just like, it even got me a big old, what I call it, big old gay flag that I wore as a cape. I was so proud. And I did get a little nervous towards the end when we were sitting there, when we stopped moving. Then I was like, oh, I'm just sitting here. I'm a sitting duck. We need to move to feel safe. And then we started moving. I was okay. And just sitting down, I was scared. But anytime we were moving, I was okay. So yeah, I wore it. And I was like, bam, out there. So I do feel a little different. Still scared. We have people in our lives and people in our kids' lives that would not be so accepting.
It's okay, though.
And I'm trying to make it okay in my head, but honestly, it breaks my heart that me being who I am could negatively affect our child because of the community that we're in. Good-hearted people that are like, that's not fucking okay. And that makes me really sad. It doesn't make me really sad. It makes me extremely sad and heartbroken and angry. So it comes with a cost. It feels like every time I get to take a deeper breath, it comes at a cost to somebody else. And that makes it hard to want to take a deep breath, you know?
Do you think that has anything to do with your sexuality in this topic, or more to do with like the fight or flight and the fear? You know what I mean? Like the level of activation that you've lived in your whole life, where if I take a pause and take a deep breath, mm-hmm. then it comes at a cost to the people that I love, and I can't do that.
Both.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I was like, it's sexuality, but I listened to the whole thing you said. I'm like, all right, that's a factor. So I think it's both. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what the percentage is now, though. I might have to look at that a little deeper. It feels like when you started the statement, I'm like, it's 100% sexuality. It's 100% who I am that doesn't fit in this world that we live in. But I can also see how that's very much a trauma response as well from my entire life. So it's both. It's where trauma meets reality.
That's a good documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah, where trauma meets reality. A documentary on PTSD and complex PTSD.
Okay. I'm activated. A little activated right now.
I can see that documentary.
I gotta pee real bad all of a sudden. I'm like, we gotta go. Like, suddenly I probably need to shave my legs. I don't know. Like, there's shit I gotta do right now. Podcast out.
Where trauma meets reality.
Flossed? I think it's time. I gotta go floss right now.
Totally have to clean the oven.
Right?
I haven't cleaned the oven this last 2 years.
Right? I have to.
I know, I'm teasing.
But yeah, it's like, where's my out? Let's get out of this uncomfortable conversation.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good factor. That scares me, and it also frees up a hint of space. Because I'm like, oh, this might not be as dire as I fear it is. It might also be fueled by trauma response.
Yeah.
But then I also think of the people that I know and the things that I've heard, and
then you get fear.
I have a thought. So I've had comments made in my sessions in massage, and I've heard people make comments that I have not agreed with. And
from like clients and stuff.
From clients. And it hasn't been outright. It hasn't been like, holy shit, did you just really fucking say that? Because I feel like I would draw the line there.
Yeah.
But it's been like kind of this passive aggressive, kind of shady, shitty, but maybe just don't know better kind of thing. It's that like that border. It rides that border. When, when things just kind of ride the border, it's harder to act. You recognize, oh, that's a good, like, yes, inclusive, loving. And what the fuck did you just say? No, that is my limit. I'm not tolerating that. But it's that gray area, that border, that when they ride the border is when I feel like silence comes in. So I've been torn on, because it's so important that a client has their space. They have their space. That's their space. They're processing things. I don't need to come in and correct. But at what point is that worth saying, hey, interesting point of view. Have you looked at it this way? At what point of view does that not make a session where somebody is already being vulnerable into something where they're then wrong? Because if they're also on the border, like, I don't know. I don't know what the right thing to do is there. I'm good at listening. When asked my opinion, I will give it. But if they're like, what would be the way to handle?
Are you asking for my thoughts on it?
Yeah. No, I'm not.
Don't look at me like I'm a fucking idiot.
No, you're not. You're not. I'm
a lot of time where we're not looking for input.
I know, but we're doing a podcast. Yeah. What do you think? What do you think on that? I mean, if they're blatant, if they are cruel, then I don't need you. Like, I'm going to say something. I'm not going to allow.
Do you have an example that you can easily give, or not quite?
I do, but on the spot, I don't. I can't conjure anything up right now.
Yeah. Well, if I'm understanding you correctly, and if I'm kind of relating it to my experiences, right? I'm kind of drawing from experiences of sitting in some of the men's groups and stuff that I did in the past. And there's basically a safe place that gets created where people feel safe. And then they start to share some of the things that they have inside that there's this whole thing where people will say stuff as a way to get it out. Right. And there's a difference between, because there's sometimes I've been in environments where people will say things to test the waters to see if anybody else feels the same way.
Okay. And
then they're like, sweet, I'm welcomed here. Now I can bring out all my fucking racism or all of my shittiness or something like that, right? Because I'm in a space with similar people that think the same way.
Okay.
Like I remember that from my time as a cop.
Yeah.
Where you would have people that would
send out little feelers.
Yeah. Where they would say something that was like, what? Kind of weird, or do you know what I mean? Awkward in a sense that doesn't really line up with the impression of that person that you have. So there's that dynamic, but then you also have this other dynamic where people feel safe and then they're saying things that it's almost like they're processing that stuff out loud, because they do feel safe, and they
Yeah.
recognize there's a part of them that I think recognizes that it is something that is toxic, and it is something that they want to change, and it is something that they don't like about themselves. Like, I have beliefs. Beliefs may be too strong of I probably do have beliefs that I don't like.
Yeah.
I have things, biases and feelings and things like that I don't like about myself. And I judge myself harshly for those. And if I just keep those inside, and if I just internalize those, and I don't express those, and if I don't let those out, then they don't go anywhere. I don't do anything with them. I just hold on to them and feel shame about them. But if I get to feel safe, and I'm in a safe environment, which you very much create in your work, right? Now I get the opportunity to express that thing that I'm feeling shame about in a safe way, and just getting it out.
Yeah.
So that may be what's going on. But from the perspective of like you, I mean, it's like you said, right? People need to feel safe to express and share and get things out and things like that. And
So much comes out.
yeah,
So much comes out in those sessions that are so beneficial, and they're dark things come out. And whenever that happens, whenever somebody has, so this is about me, that's telling it right there. Cause I'm like, in a group setting, I wouldn't allow any of that. If it was blatant, horrible, I would have been like, this is where we're going to curb this. I wouldn't stand for that in a sense. Right. But when darkness starts coming out, and when they start working with that shadow, it's beautiful. I encourage that. I create a space. I let that happen. So when moments come up to where I'm like, oh, that's kind of not okay. That's all about me.
yeah.
That's all about me. So I am doing.
Yeah. Are they bringing that darkness out because it's shame that needs light, or it's hate? Right?
It's shame that needs light. If it was hate, I wouldn't stand for it.
Exactly. And the client, I mean, you don't have clients that are full of, disgusting dark hate that needs to, do you know what I mean? You have people that need help. You have people that come to you because they do feel safe and have the opportunity to get some of that shame out. So that's what I think it sounds like.
That's what it is. Like, I feel like it's really obvious now. I've been convoluted about it a bit, and having like that, because I'm so like becoming more aware. So many things are coming up now where I notice that I am silent about things, and how that's not okay. And so just trying to like find like, when is it? Because you don't need to say, like, I don't know. So just trying to find the balance of like creating that space and allowing those things to come out, and not being silent when light and definitely needs to be shown on things. But I like how you said that. It's not hate. There is shame that needs light.
And you can feel the difference between those.
Absolutely. Because I feel hate.
Yeah.
I've absolutely felt hate.
We've been around people, like I can think of people very easily that say things that what they're doing is.
I hate that we're probably thinking of the same person right now. It fucking pisses me off. Yeah. And that's also another moment that I'm silent.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm silent because I'm afraid. I hate that part. It causes so much damage. That one person has so much. I don't know what to do with that.
With which part? I thought we just solved it.
We did. We saw that, but now I'm thinking about the one that we're both thinking of the same person.
Oh, I don't know if we are. I can't think of anybody else. I mean,
you said I can think of somebody right now.
Just in the context of like exactly what we were talking about. I don't know if I can think of anything.
Yeah.
But
well, I definitely create sessions where I allow the dark to come out. And I'm not perfect, so I didn't have that answer. I'm glad you fleshed it out with me. And now I have more of that answer. There's obviously hate that, like, there's levels of things. Like, if there's going to
be a part of this. I don't mean to interrupt you, but like, there's going to be a part of this. Like, this is, I mean, you can definitely relate to this as I try to explain this idea or this concept, right? But there's a part of like, suddenly, even if it's a subconscious thing, where you are becoming comfortable with who you are. Even if we just leave it at that, it has nothing to do with sexuality. It has nothing to do with, the LGBT. It has nothing to do with any of that. It just, you are getting comfortable with who you are.
And all my weirdness.
Right?
Right.
And there's people that are going to come to you and they're going to pick up on that.
Yeah.
They're going to pick up on the aspect of like, Stephanie feels comfortable in her skin. I want to feel that way. These are the things that I don't feel comfortable about. And I need to get them out. And she's going to help me. So like from this subconscious way of like, how do I get this stuff out? Because she seems like she's a safe place, because she seems comfortable with who she is and comfortable in her skin and comfortable in her space. And I so desperately want that. And that's going to look different for everybody, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have, over the course of your life, you have felt uncomfortable in your own skin for a variety of different reasons. So it might not have anything to do with the thing that they're saying that is kind of a little on the border of inappropriate or whatever it might be, and more to do with they don't feel comfortable with who they are.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get rid of that. And they're trying to get to the point where they can feel safe and comfortable with who they are.
Yeah.
That's everybody's journey.
That is everybody's journey.
I will still fucking journey.
Gently, like, if something needs to be said, I will still say it.
Yeah.
I will still say it.
And that's a huge change.
That's a huge change.
You didn't used to do that.
No. And I will absolutely be fierce if needed to in a group setting.
Yeah.
Like, I will protect people. I am a safe space.
You're an incredibly safe space.
Yeah.
You are the safest space that I have ever been in, ever. So.
I love you.
You have allowed me to. There's times, baby, I do the exact same thing. I will say things.
When you play the devil's advocate?
No.
You're poking the bear.
I say things that I don't like about myself.
Yeah.
And I test the waters and I'm like, and I don't do it consciously. It's just this like, say this thing.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, she didn't run from that. That didn't scare her away. That's an okay thing for me to say. That was an okay thing inside of me to be felt. That was an okay thing for me to think at one point in my life. And I recognize that's not who I am. That's not my thoughts. That's not my experience. I need to get that out. And you've made that safe for me to do. So you're a pretty amazing woman.
I love you.
I love you. Let's wrap up before the...
Had one more epiphany. I want to see if I can say it.
Let's hear it.
It's like I see the difference of I recognize pain. I recognize trauma. I recognize fear. And those are safe to come out. But I won't. Oh, it was so good in my head. And now it's not coming out. Like, fear, pain, and trauma are safe to come out. I can hold space in those and help you work through those. But when it's not about healing, when it's just about hate and spreading hate, that's my, no. There's no tolerance for that. And
I'm not going to hold space for that.
Not going to hold space for that.
A great epiphany.
It sounded so fucking insightful in my head. I'm like, I get it. And that's okay that I can't reiterate it and express it verbally because I know the feeling.
It's going to be a
and
t-shirt.
So I can taste that feeling. So I know what it feels like. So exactly. I don't have to be able to express it or like, I know what that feels like. So I know how to handle. I know where I'm at. Okay. Thank you for helping me
You're
be
so
a
welcome.
human.
Thank you for helping me be a human. Next week or this weekend, this episode is on Monday, June something. And at the end of this week is that festival that you should come join us and hang out at. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I would
Tickets are on sale still.
Hi.
If you listen to the podcast, come hit us up. We always love meeting people that are fans of the podcast and listen to the podcast. Go follow us on Instagram. Like we said earlier, there's a super good recent Instagram live interview that we did, and we've got some more coming up as well. So it's a great place for some extra content, as well as like I'm working on a reel. Reels take me about 4.5
You're so
days.
good at them. Nobody gets my reels.
So I got another reel.
Where's my likes on my reels, people?
I got another reel in the works that's taken me a good long time.
It's
to
already good.
cut and edit and paste and
It's already good.
no, it's they're so fucking dumb.
It's already good.
But yeah. And tune in next week because we'll probably have 26 people from the festival crammed into this room, all
How
wanting to be on the
fucking
podcast.
awesome would that be?
That'd be
I
funny.
would do it. I would do it.
Yeah, it'd
Yeah.
be fun. Okay, close us out, love. Do we need a new one?
I think we might need a new one.
Okay, let's
I'll
not worry
do
about a
it.
sign off then. If you want a new one, we'll get a new one. We'll figure out a new sign off. If you got any ideas, let us know. Reach out via any. Send us a
You can
pigeon.
find us.
A pigeon. I love you.
Oh.